Hello and welcome to episode 175 of the Game Brew Podcast, the bi-weekly video game podcast, the mostly bi-weekly video game podcast where we sip delicious bevs and discuss video games. I'm your host, Dynamite Dan, and I'm joined by Kerosene Kari.
Kaboom!
And Gunpowder Gray.
Sizzle? I'm not sure.
And on this episode of the Game Brew Podcast, we asked the question, are we gaming less than we used to? No one answered right away, so I guess we'll have to discuss it. So it's a beautiful episode. Yeah, Kerosene Kari or Kari Scene. That'd be a supervillain name for you.
Oh, I love it. I got the perfect goggles today too.
Great. So this is an episode 175 of the Game Brew Podcast. As you can tell, we don't have Allison or we don't have Chris here with us today. So we have our wonderful. So
Who needs them?
Who needs them? Today it's the
got second string.
It's the Dan Gray and Kari show. Gray, thank you for joining us. Everybody give Gray a hand for joining us on our podcast today. Welcome.
Happy to be of assistance.
Or as we know him, everybody's benefactor. If you're a subscriber to the podcast to the channel,
thank you for all the subs.
Thank you for all the subs. The longest subscribe. Hey, you subscribed to the podcast for 36 months or something like that. Then you can also be on the Game Brew Podcast.
That's right.
That's it. But also, Gray had me on his podcast back in the day too. The D&D one. Yeah. So before we get into the drinks there, did you listen to our D&D? Did you watch our D&D podcast last week that we had, Gray?
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to. I was really bummed about it because it's like I've been waiting for you guys to do a D&D podcast for forever. So I was very upset that I had to be at work.
Right. You're the reason, too. You're the reason, because we were talking about it one day. We're like, oh, we need to convince Dan to do a campaign for us to be in together.
That's true. Well,
100%.
So we did a one shot and everybody died. I'm so sorry. Spoilers. # spoilers. But
that is a good one shot.
I kind of planned it that way.
Spoilers alert before the spoiler, Dan. That's how that works.
Kari, your volume is a bit low. Can you turn yourself up at all? If not, I can turn you up. Hold on. Let me see. I think I got you. Hold on. Hold on. I think it's because of your witch sound that I turn you down.
Oh, yeah. How's that?
Is that better?
Is that better? Hello. Gray
subscribed for 42 months, not 36.
42 months.
Thanks, Gray. How's Gray sound? Is he good?
Hello.
I'm going to turn you up just in case.
Sweet gray tones.
Still at 100%. I'll put you 113. Maybe it's better. Okay, great. So if you missed it, you can check it out on this here channel. You can go back to 2 weeks ago and watch it on there if you want. You can also listen to the podcast. There's slightly visual. I'm going to do something different next time, but that we do one, including involving Gray probably. To be an adventurer. And you know what? I'm probably going to try and continue my streak of just murdering everybody in it so that I don't have to have continual world building. I can just put them in a place. Everybody dies. End of one shot.
Do it.
Perfect. All right. Well, this is the part of the podcast where usually I would say, Chris, what are we drinking? But Chris isn't here. So, Gray, what are you drinking?
What I'm drinking currently is this delicious Japanese whiskey.
Ooh, Hibiki whiskey. Mm-hmm. Very nice.
It's a very nice little blend, very smooth. And I also just got this chilled.
Ooh, it's like a chilled
stone. What kind of stone? Granite? Ooh.
Mm-hmm. So it chills itself, so no clanky ice sound.
No watered down alcohol.
Well, listen, the water releases the flavor of the whiskey, so you really should put a little water in there, at least a little bit.
It comes from the frost on the inside of the glass.
Yeah, most of the time.
Yeah, Dan.
But very nice. What's the chuggability rating of that bad boy?
How numbs your throat? Jeez, it's very smooth,
shots.
but I don't know if I would chug it just for
Gotcha.
safety reasons.
I gotcha. Okay. All right. So low then on the chuggability.
Maybe
rating
a
scale.
2.
Maybe a 2. Okay. You don't have to use
A
numbers.
solid 2.
I like to remind everybody that the chuggability scale is variable. It doesn't have to have numbers. It could have letters. You could just describe it. That's what the chuggability rating scale is. Kari, what about you? What do you what's your bev of choice this evening?
Well, since I am on mom time, I am very little sleep. I am coffee.
Coffee. Okay.
Coffee.
I would think you'd do the opposite so you could go to sleep.
No, you want me sleeping on the show?
Well, not on the show, but I mean after the show.
I wouldn't be very good on a talk show if I was just sitting here.
I don't know. It could be interesting to some people. Sometimes people like, what are your sleep?
I mean, true, there are Twitch channels. Actually, I don't think you can do that anymore, right?
Oh,
you can't do sleep on Twitch. Yeah.
You can't do sleep? What do they think of next?
I think you can't do like stay awake marathons.
Oh,
you can't force yourself to stay awake for hours and hours, I think was the rule now.
Really?
Like the challenge of staying awake for 48 hours or whatever.
I'm not gonna I'm gonna stay awake for 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
So, but 24 hours is okay, right?
I'm sure. Because of the
I mean, technically they do like subscription marathons and stuff for months.
I think it depends on the nature of I'm staying awake for 3 days just to stay awake for 3 days.
Yeah.
Is not a valid reason. But if it's like, hey, we're doing our 24-hour stream for charity, then it's like that's different. That's a different thing.
100%, yeah.
So, but I don't know.
Gotcha.
Twitch. I'm just on here. I'm just on here.
Yeah. So coffee. Yeah, because I need go-go juice.
I mean, and it makes you that hot brown bean juice. That'll do it. That'll do it. Also makes you poop. Anyway.
I was say that's after.
I made a cocktail.
Chuggability fluffy. There
fluffy.
You go.
Ooh,
oh.
You said anything fluffy.
Anything. It's a very fluffy chuggability. I mean, it's okay. It's great. I made myself a cocktail. It's one of my favorite cocktails to make. I have some chili infused rum, some ancho chili infused rum. That I add some sweetened lime juice and some it's agave nectar too. So it's kind of like a rum margarita sort of thing, but it's spicy. It's spicy.
It's spicy.
It's spicy. It's not the most chuggable because it's spicy. You can't really chug it. So mildly, I would if I could, but it hurts to drink. So
how many jalapenos spicy is it? Or like on the pepper scale? Let's do it that way.
Low. It's not super spicy at all. It just has some bite to it because it's infused. So it's like basically I put ancho chilies in white rum and I let it sit for like 48 hours. And then you'll notice like the rum starts to turn like a yellow color because it's getting the.
So you did this yourself?
Oh yeah, I do it myself.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because all you need is cheap white rum, and then you just put chili in it. So you could do it with a whole bunch of stuff. We went for date night last night. We went to a place called Kuma, which is it's a cocktail bar and sushi place. Like they have sushi and cocktails. And they have really good it's a martini, but it had habanero infused vodka in it. So it was like really spicy. But it also had like mango and pineapple and stuff. It was very sweet,
that sounds
but like really like fiery on your throat. It was really good.
Sounds like a good combination.
They have one like that at Mad Mex, only jalapenos instead of
habanero.
Habanero. Oh, it's true. It is.
And spicy and served hot.
There we go. Spicy and served hot. Gotta have it. Great. So yeah, medium chuggability. This is going to be probably my signature drink at our wedding whenever we have that. Maybe, I don't know. It's pretty good. I like it.
If the wife lets you.
I just have to. Oh no, she will. We love spicy. We love spicy bevs. All right. So yeah, that's it. Medium chuggability. That's what we've been drinking. But this is a Bevs and Video Games podcast. Now we have to talk about what we've been playing as far as video games or games in general. Gray, what have you been playing? What have you been playing? It's good to keep going in the same circle.
Classic Teamfight Tactics.
TFT.
I mean, favorite of mine in my pastime. But new Zelda game just dropped.
Oh, have you been playing that?
Oh yeah.
What's it called? It's called Echoes of
Wisdom or something.
Echoes of Wisdom. Echoes of
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the Zelda games. They always
Tell me about this one. Is this one like the classic style, or is this like the Rides on Horse style?
Yeah, Echoes of Wisdom. I mean, they basically made it the same as they made the updated Link to the Past.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if either of you have played that.
Yeah, so it's kind of like it feels like the OG Zelda top-down games, but it still has like really cool, like new cartoony graphics and stuff.
Real cool graphics. I mean, I like the gameplay so far. It's definitely an interesting twitch. It reminds me of what was it? A little bit of Twilight Princess with the rods that do things.
Okay. Yep.
So it's pretty interesting. I haven't gotten too far because I'm taking my time with it. But it's definitely fun. But big, Link to the Past vibes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, looking at it, it had very Link to the Past, or Four Seasons. That was with that kind of stuff. But also, you get to play as Zelda in it. You're not Link. You're Zelda, right?
That's right.
Yeah. That's
fun. Yeah. It's definitely a trip. I don't know about spoilers, but like you start off as Link, going and rescuing Zelda, and then he just gets trapped.
And
it's like you know something's gonna go wrong because you already got 20 hearts when you're Link in the beginning.
Damn time. I love this. So how many hours in are you?
I would say probably only 3 or 4, just because of how much I work. But just taking it slow and enjoying this. Like, I've never understood like Wind Waker and stuff like that. Like the graphics don't need to be perfect, but it's still beautiful.
Oh yeah,
just the way it's set up and like the interactions with stuff. It's just so great.
That was one of the biggest I remember that being a huge deal whenever Wind Waker came out, and everyone was like, "Oh, the graphics! Why isn't it cool, Link? And why is it cartoony?" That is legitimately one of the best Legend of Zelda games. That's up there, like Ocarina of Time. Oh no, not Tears of the Kingdom.
Twilight Princess?
No. What was the one before
Majora's
Tears
Mask?
of the Kingdom came out?
Breath of the Wild?
Breath of the Wild. So it's like Ocarina of Time, Breath of the Wild. I consider that's 2 or 3 or 4 on the list is
easily. The storyline alone. It could have been pixelated on a Game Boy. That storyline alone would have been fantastic.
And then you also got your Game Boy Advance. You plug it in as your Tingle tuner to find Tingle and play all the games that Tingle wants us to play. It's great. Tingle, but nice.
It's definitely worth. It's definitely. I highly recommend as of right now.
Tight. All right, check it out. Echoes of the Hourglass. Wisdom. Echoes of Wisdom. It's hard because all the Zelda games are like Legend of Zelda something of something. It's like the Sarah J. Maas books where it's like a Court of Thorn and Roses, a Court of Mist and Flowers, a Court of a quart of
Wow, look at you rattling those off like
a quart of horse and
Let me
horse
just
and
turn to my
buggies.
bookcase.
Yeah. Well, no, they're all downstairs. We have all of them downstairs. We have like special edition. Hannah has special editions of everything.
Well, this
We've
one
got-
might be a little bit easier
nice.
because Zelda's is the Sage of Wisdom. So
that makes sense. That makes sense to me. All right, Kari, what about you? Anything new and exciting in the video game world that you've been playing?
So I'm still playing Once Human. Our server is on season 2 now.
Nice.
I am on a PvP hard server.
Okay.
So everything's a little bit ramped up, a little bit harder. When you go in, their bosses have more abilities, and it's cool, but I don't know. Games where you're like playing the same content over and over again just get grindy after a while. So this has the potential to go that way. It's still feeling, I'm still playing and enjoying it. But unless they put new content out soon, it's gonna be like meh. They're gonna start losing people. But I still love that the game is truly free to play. It's cosmetics is really all you're buying. And putting in the time is what, gets you all your upgrades and everything that you need. So I don't know. I think they've done just a really good job. And like out of all the games that I've played where you have player housing in a MMO type environment, I have to say this has been the best one so far.
Mm-hmm.
The ability to like
just
pick up your house and just move it, and you don't even have to pick it up. You just go to where you want to place it, press 2 buttons, and then figure out the layout, and then plop, there it is. And I love that. I love that.
I do remember whenever I was playing, something happened where it was just like, oh, your house couldn't be there because of something or other. So we packed it all up for you. It's just in your inventory. I was like, oh, cool. That's great. And I just went somewhere else, plopped it down.
It's pretty cool.
Perfect.
Yep. You can save the blueprints of your house. And when the new season started over, everything goes into this special backpack, and you get so many points that you can put towards pulling things you want from the last season out into the new season, which I think is really neat. So like say there were some deviants that you caught that you really want in the new season, or you loved your gun build or your armor build. Granted, that's a lot of points to pull your guns and armor over, but if you wanted to, you could. You still keep all your blueprints that you find in builds. You keep all of your like season points and things like that. I love that all that stuff carries over. But like you start again with all of your like gathering materials and building up your tiers of weapons and things like that. And then the other thing I've been playing is Deep Rock Galactic. I just started playing. A friend of mine wanted to play that, so we just started today actually. And they're doing their Rocktober Fest. So if you want some special goodies, go play.
And get a tuba that shoots bratwursts. Wear it
a tuba hat. Yeah.
Wear it as a hat.
I do have a question.
Uh-huh.
This might be a little off topic, but is there something other than just straight up brand new content that would keep games interesting for you guys?
The new content that would keep games interesting for me.
Yeah, like is there something that would make it less grindy, I guess?
Kari, what would
I think that's the $1 million question for developers, right? I mean, if I knew that.
Because
I didn't know if there was something you guys enjoyed that made it feel less grindy after so long.
I think seasonal events and games are something that really are fun.
That's what I was gonna say, because that I liked in WoW whenever they would do seasonal things, because I would always go and do that stuff, or like I don't know. I've always been a questy boy though, so even like pre-end game content, as long as there's like a new little exclamation point over a person's head for me to go talk to them and figure out what it is, that usually has a thing.
Yeah, like give me more breadcrumbs. Festivals type stuff is good. I remember in WoW though, it just kind of like they just started regurgitating the same thing over and over again,
Well-
and they didn't add anything new to those festivals. So that was like meh.
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't know. Give me a new boss, every so often or something.
Give me a new boss.
It doesn't have to be like a whole dungeon. Just give me a boss to fight.
Well, he
Something
wants-
to kill.
I need pictures of Spider-Man. That's what I need.
That's right.
That's your new boss. That's what your new quest is in Once Human. Pictures of Spider-Man.
It's funny you say that because that is some of the new
What?
quests. Yes, to go take pictures of things.
Oh.
I'm not even kidding.
I thought it
Not
was like, did they put
Spider-Man.
Jane Jonah Jameson? Crazy.
But yeah, no, there's a guy out there and he's
Spider-Man?
like, go take pictures of these things. That's funny. Dan, what have you been playing?
So regular stuff, the usual things. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Still making my way through that. Playing some Apex Legends with Fee and Will. ARAM stuff a little bit. Broke my foot, so can't really get around too good right now. We did go play some pinball though. That was nice. I just stood on my left foot the whole time. Yeah, for those of you who aren't in the Discord, I broke my foot last Monday walking down the steps at the beginning of the day, and yeah, so
That's what happens when you
that's what happens.
get
when
up and try to do stuff.
Things,
So
yeah.
you just stay and play games.
Stay in bed.
I mean,
stay in bed, everybody. Stay in bed all day.
Right. Good advice.
But there is a game that I did download on my PlayStation 5. It's called The Plucky Squire, and it is so freaking adorable. It is a game. It starts out kind of like Legend, like a sort of Legend of Zelda-y. You're a plucky squire, and it's told it's like a children's storybook. So like every like little screen that you're on where you do things is 2 pages of a storybook.
cute.
And so you go through and you have a sword and you like fight little bad guys that are really cute and adorable. The art is well animated. And you have 2 little friends who follow you around, and then like stuff gets crazy because you have Humgrump the wizard who's the bad guy, but at the end of the story you're supposed to beat him. But he has a copy of the book that you're currently in, and then he uses meta magic and like screws everything up. So it like shoots you out of the book, and then you have this ability to like go back into the book and out of the book. You can turn the pages to go back and forward to different areas. When you're out, you can like you'll sometimes get things from the world to bring in. And this is kind of cool because of what you were saying. It has like it's not just like a top-down adventure hack and slash game. Like sometimes it had like a little punch out game that you played. It has like a little like, oh, you have to shoot arrows at stuff in one of these things. It has like a text conversation with a Magic the Gathering card that you have to
like
have.
little mini games.
Yeah,
I like
it's
that.
really it's
Cool.
very cute. I'm really enjoying the time I'm playing it. And if you have PlayStation Plus, it's on there. So you can play that if you would like. It's on PS5. I don't know what else it's on. The Plucky Squire. Let's see. Oh, it's on Steam. It's also on Nintendo Switch, so you could play it on there. Oh yeah, it's on everything. Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Microsoft Windows. You can play it on all those things. It's called The Plucky Squire.
I'll have to
Nice.
check that one out. It sounds fun.
It's very cute. I really am enjoying it, and it is fun. Even if you just look up some screenshots and stuff like that, it's very good. But yes, definitely check it out. It is cool. But now that's what we've all been playing. So, hey, did you guys know that people might be playing less video games than they used to?
Really?
Did you know that?
Interesting.
I did not
Interesting.
know that.
Well, there have been a few studies over the last few years about how sort of like people who used to play video games and like have been playing video games for years are kind of like starting to not play video games as much. And so that is one of those things where I wanted to have a conversation. See do you think you're playing less video games now than you were a few years ago. Now, obviously, we went through a whole, global pandemic where we were trapped inside
Right.
for a really long time and like didn't get to see all of our friends or whatever. So that has
You're
an
right.
effect.
So, I read the article that was posted with this
Mhm.
question, and it was confusing to me because it sounded like their basis of measurement was based off of since the pandemic.
Mhm.
And I thought that's kind of a weird time frame to kind of base this study off of, because we're being forced back into the office. A lot of people
Mhm.
are like having to go back in. That means commute times, that means tired, that means at the end of the day I just want to take off the pants, get in bed, and go to sleep.
Mm.
And sure, I get that's why people would play less video games. But if it's before then, I don't know. Are we evening out, or are we lower than before pandemic times?
Right. That'd be interesting to see the
Well,
graph on that.
Well, the data's hard to find on this because it's usually like closed studies and sort of things. I mean, reliable data would be like revenue based, but also that doesn't add up a lot because of pricing increasing for stuff.
Right.
I wonder though, how many new gamers did we get because of the pandemic? People who weren't gamers before who are now gamers. And does this data include phone games? Because there's a lot of people playing mobile
Mhm.
games. And I see a lot of games that were strictly PC only moving to have mobile elements to them. Like Once Human actually is doing a mobile version.
Interesting.
There has been a huge explosion
So,
of mobile games. I mean, even if you go onto certain streaming sites like Crunchyroll,
Mhm.
they're pushing mobile games hard right now.
Did you know
So it's like,
have you been on Netflix? Have you seen that they have like a little beta for like you can
yeah.
play?
yes.
I've tried to do it.
Mhm.
It's so laggy I haven't been able to do anything. But it's interesting. You could say
YouTube even has games now too.
Mhm.
YouTube games. Wow.
So it's an oversaturation of games as well. So it also could be I don't know what to play.
I mean I think there's if you look at the most played video games right now, like from like a player base and revenue base, it's Fortnite, Roblox, um, Apex Legends,
Mhm.
Warzone. Um, it's
Games
these
that you jump in and out of very easily.
Yeah, it's
Right.
games that you jump in and out of uh easily, but also games that are games as service, where
Yes.
it's like a free to play game, so you don't have to pay anything for it, but you put money into it, which is where all of
Yeah.
the like revenue comes from.
Every week my kid spends his allowance on either Robux or the Fortnite coins, whatever those are called. Llama bucks. I
No,
don't
I
know.
think they're just called V-Bucks.
V-Bucks, yeah.
V-Bucks. Okay. So yeah, okay. Here, I got some stats for you. Okay. So globally, there are
Ooh.
approximately 3.9 billion active video game players. 3.09. Asia is home to almost 1.5 billion gamers. Probably.
Probably.
But something around there.
Bots.
But the increase of usually there's an increase of people playing video games every year, right? So since 2016, it's been like a 6% increase every year in the amount of people playing video games. Like every year, it's like 2016 was 140 million, 2017 is 160 million, or the increase was 140 million, 160 million, et cetera, et cetera. So over the last few years, it's gone down, and the increase of new people playing video games in 2024 is only 3%, which is only 100 million people. So that's and that's been declining since 2020, which is interesting because that was the pandemic, and that's whenever everybody was stuck inside. We kind of had to do things like that to connect with other people. So my question is, do you think that did something happen where we were forced to it was like we had to play video games and we had to do those things over the internet to connect with each other, and because of that we now associate that, like, video games or gaming with our friends with that moment in time? Do we all have PTSS from the pandemic by playing these
Did
video
we
games?
finally get our fill of gaming and we're ready to go out and be humans in the world again?
Maybe did we OD on video games?
Mm.
I don't necessarily think that's the case. I think for our generation, it's more of social and family obligations that prevent us from playing as much as, say, we would back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But what I would be really interested in seeing is if the decrease in game players matches the decrease in birth rates. Because we have had a declining birth rate over the past at least 6 to 7 years because of how things are. So, I mean, you talk about the pandemic. Let's see how many gamers pop up about 10 years and 9 months after 2020. You know?
Well, I will say, in the U.S. at least, the number of births decreased 3% from 2022. So that's along the same lines. However, babies aren't playing video games, you know.
No, but I mean, this isn't the beginning of the decline because the birth rate's been kind of either stagnant or declining since baby boomers.
Do you
I have no
personally feel like you are
Probably.
playing less video games?
Who's that?
Me?
Yeah.
Let's go with Gray first.
Yeah, no, Gray. You Gray.
It's hard. I feel like I'm kind of what Kari was saying earlier. I feel like I'm leaning towards more mobile games now than like sit down games. I mean, the Switch is great because it's kind of able to be mobile. But I've always been, other than my crazy Call of Duty zombie days where we had LAN parties. I've always kind of been more into the storyline. That's why I like the Zelda games. That's why I like games where I can kind of play by myself and kind of enjoy a nice story. I enjoy playing with friends, but I feel like that's more the in and out games where you just, you're queuing up with a bunch of people. You have a good time for a couple hours and then you kind of hop off. So I think it's not necessarily that I'm gaming less. It's more I'm moving my focus to easier games, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, that makes sense to me.
More cozy like games
or things that you don't have to
yeah.
like wait for. You don't have to coordinate schedules for,
right,
especially being
exactly.
adults. That's why I find myself playing less D&D than I used to, because it used to be pretty fine to have like my single friends over on like every Thursday night or whatever. But it's like now we're all married and have kids or like live in different area codes or like different zip codes. So it's like, it's so hard to
I remember when that transition happened for me.
Scheduling difficulties, it's rough.
It happens to all of our friend
you
groups
definitely eventually. You definitely move through different stages in life as far as time to be able to allocate towards those things. Like you go through a period where you just don't have time for games, and then you get older and you're like, I don't feel like going out anymore. My Saturday night is great spent online hanging out with my buddies. It's like just kind of more chill, like I don't know, more game time again or indoor game time again, especially in the evenings. But Yeah, you definitely go through a period in during adult life where just responsibilities are just so much more and stress is so
Mhm.
much more that you don't have the time. But once people are done through the getting married and the babies and the
Mhm.
the baby period and into like the younger children, like older than toddler, you can start gaming again.
Yeah, I
So
definitely
there you
agree
go,
with
Dan.
that.
What'd you
And I
say?
mean, because it's like you also need to. What Carrie was saying is, and I'll ask both of you: if you had a 100%, you didn't have to worry about a day, and like a game that you really wanted to play was coming out, would you not dedicate that time to that game?
Oh no, I would. I have. I do that. I did do
Well,
that. I do that.
that's my point. Is I don't necessarily think it's a that we're desiring to play less if we are playing less. It's the responsibilities of our life are maybe getting in the way
Yes,
instead of
Yeah,
that.
yes.
it's that's very much the crux of adulthood is that it's like, oh, I actually do have to care about responsibilities and other people and like things I have to do. So,
Mm.
you know,
You mean I gotta feed my kid 3 times a day and
I mean, you don't
clothe them and
have
bathe them?
to.
No,
You
you do,
really
because then
should,
somebody
but
comes and takes them.
that's true. Yeah.
There's
No, you do have to
consequences
do
if
that.
you don't,
You
but
do
you
have to
don't
do
have to.
Yeah.
In
Though I
fact,
will
Yeah.
say I'm very interested to see what our generation's old folks' home's going to be like. Because I feel like it's just going to
Oh,
be gaming
virtual.
stations
yeah, there's just going to be a
all
bunch
over the
of like
place.
I well, I mean, by the time that we have that we're old enough to have old folks' homes, we're going to be too busy fighting off all the radioactive zombies to even
That's
think
true.
about going to an old
Couldn't.
folks' home.
No,
I mean,
they're gonna be
technically, it's
feeding us to
still a
them.
game.
Ugh. No,
Once you reach a certain age, you are no longer a benefit to society. We're gonna uh, boil you and
careful,
grind you down into
careful,
Soylent Green.
careful, careful. Don't predict the future too hard. Uh,
Yeah.
we all know Soylent Green is people. Soylent Green is people. BT dubs. Soylent Green is people. That movie's so depressing. I don't want to think about that. You know what I want to?
I was talking about Midsummer the other day. What they
Oh,
do, they're old people.
Oh
That
boy.
was
also yeah.
gruesome.
Happy Halloween season, everybody. As we're getting,
Yes,
tis spooky
spooky
season.
movies.
Do you find do you Gray? You were saying before about how you spend most of the time with like narrative based games, single player experiences.
Yeah.
How much do you think like when you're gaming, how much of that time do you feel like you spend the majority of that time actually paying attention to the game, or do you kind of veg out for a lot of it, or also like be paying attention to other things while you're doing it? I know a classic maneuver in the Rotz Kirkner household is to have the TV on watching Criminal Minds, but also you know Hannah's doing
Playing.
stuff on her Animal Crossing, or I'm playing a mobile game on my phone like Zenless Zone
Mm-hmm.
Zero, or like a slot game just because I it's fun to
I
watch
think it
those
kind
go
of
by.
depends on the game, to be honest.
Okay.
Like if I when I'm playing the new Zelda game, I'm
Mhm.
gonna pay attention because I don't know it that well. So
Okay.
I'm gonna probably more focus on that. I'm not saying there might not be music or something in the background, just because, but that's probably gonna maintain most of my focus. But if I'm playing, you know, Resident Evil 2 again, I am paying attention to the game, but like I've done it so many times at this point that it's more the joy and the nostalgia.
Mhm.
So it's not I'm not paying attention to how Leon talks to, you know, all the other characters. Like
Right.
it's because
I could
I've
see
read
your
it already.
I could see your brain working and trying to was like, "Oh snap, I forgot all the other character names." And
I was like, oh man,
Leon
Yep,
talking
yep.
to
Ada. He was
shit.
talking to Ada. All right.
Yep,
It's
Ada,
the
Jill,
opposite
either
for
one.
me. It's like if the show is a really good one, then I'm like turn off the game. Otherwise, I am a multitasker. I have 2 monitors. I've got something on one monitor, and I'm gaming on the other. So if I'm locked Rings of Power, nope, all games off. We're watching Rings of Power.
I often will listen to podcasts while I play games like I'll play Call of Duty and I'll just take off my headphones and I'll just listen to podcasts while I'm playing that. Or while I'm playing Magic the Gathering Arena. Solo monitor life.wave. What is this? Is that an actual thing? Wicked? Should I click on that link? I don't know.
It's Wicked. It's Wicked. Just,
is that a
I want to point
file?
out that the first part of his name is Wicked.
He is.
I thought really want to click that?
I thought Wicked was just from Boston. So that's that's one wicked Thai chicken you got going on.
No, great. Now I'm going to hear that forever.
Wicked. But I forgot what we were talking about because my brain. I'm sorry. I posted on that thing. I don't know. I kind of I like multitasking, but then it's like also I like playing games where I do only have to pay singular attention to it. Like the Plucky Squire, I love playing it, but it's also like I don't know. I think the reason that why there's a lot of decrease in like gaming, I think is because I'm so sorry. There's loud noises happening downstairs. It's just laughing, but it distracted me. I think the reason that there's a lot of decreasing and stuff is because like our generation of people now, we kind of have so much stuff to do and we're so poor and we need to work all the time that whenever it gets time to, like Carrie said, whenever it's time for us to like get home and like veg out, it's like I don't want to think, so it's hard to be like you know, the good old Stardew Valley argument. It's like, why would I want to get done work and then come home and do more work, you know?
Right.
See, for me, like a lot of people, that's their go-to for vegging out is going and zoning out on a TV show. Mine has always been zoning out on a game, some form of mindless game, even if it's like some kind of puzzle game, like, you know, Tetris style type thing. That's my unwind. And then shows are secondary. Yeah, Solitaire, Minesweeper, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I do like playing Magic the Gathering in that way, even though I get my butt handed to me every single time. I'm so bad at playing MTG Arena. Like, so
you gotta
bad.
play. You gotta play. I want to win.
No, because you'll just beat me and then I'll be mad at you, Gray. God.
No.
Everyone just like, listen, there's just too many ooze decks. That's my problem. People keep coming at me with oozes, and I'm like, that's stupid. Get out of here. Play something that's more fun. But yeah.
I don't think I am personally not playing as much. I think I'm still playing as much as I have been for the last few years. I don't play as much as I did like back in my WoW days because I didn't have a kid then, so I could spend all of my free social time online with my friends, and you know, and there was nothing wrong with that. And now it's like, no, I have a kid, I gotta, you know, break away and do stuff with kid time. But yeah, I in the last few years, I think I'm playing about the same. I don't think it's declining for me, and my desire to game hasn't declined. But I'm a gamer, and that's what I love to do. I think maybe these numbers might be people that weren't like primary gamers and were just pandemic gamers, possibly.
Probably.
But it's also we have a lot more options as adults in order to get that fix. You know?
Yeah.
Back in the day, we had to have LAN parties or physical D&D sessions and stuff like that. So I'd be interested to see where it all came from, the statistics, because if you're talking about even as something as simple as solitaire to board games, like that's still gaming in my opinion. You know, it's still, you know, you're gathering with either people or by yourself and enjoying a game. Just because it might not be a video game does not necessarily mean it's not gaming. But
I mean,
so it kind of depends on where you're at.
Yeah, I mean that's what we on the Game Brew podcast have repeatedly said. Like, it's not just video games; it's all games. It's gaming in general. Like, I have so many. I think I brought it up last time. I assumed that I had just as many board games as every other of all of my other friends until I went to all their houses, and I was just like, wait a minute. I thought, but you like games and I like games, and then I'm looking at like my giant shelf full of board games that I can't fit anymore into, so I'm contemplating getting another shelf. And then I go to their place. I'm like, wait, you only have like Catan and like this and then that? What's so I'm like, oh, no, I have a problem. I have a problem. I just like to buy I like to buy board games. Which is it's my
Yeah, we have a huge cabinet that's exploding with
Yeah.
board games. Yeah.
It's our box to bear, I think, is what it comes to. I just want to point out CPX Guy 38 in the chat said my unwind time is Heineken 1 or 2. Heineken 1 or 2 and play some Once Human and High, they say. Also says that their gaming has increased, but I like to play one game at a time until it's dead. I have a hard time doing that. I think we had a whole episode about where we have a hard time like playing games to completion. Wicked says the fan bases of a lot of games are aging, as you all are saying, and gaming is becoming franchise stagnant in the way that film TV have had to adapt to the streaming market by becoming more formulaic, less and less new under the sun, recycling titles and proven titles over and over again. Yeah, I mean, there's been like 8 different releases of The Last of Us and so they had like The Last of Us, The Last of Us Remastered, The Last of Us Remake, The Last of Us Remake Remastered. Which
well, hey,
and then The Last of Us Part 1.
English class. Didn't we learn in English class that there's only like 8 stories? We're just rehashing them in different ways. Come on now.
It's true. We really did.
Yeah. Wicked and I were talking about this the other night with spooky season coming up, like horror games and what horror games have had an impact on us, and just like the lack of newness to horror games. They're all the same kind of thing over and over again. And I have to agree with that. There's just like, it's either like a hide and seek type horror game or a jump scare, and you don't have much more than that.
Well, now, okay. So now, well, that's interesting. I don't want to talk too much about that because that could be a whole other topic.
Well, okay, then we'll save that for a topic.
Spooky game season.
But the stagnant, let's just talk about it in the way that there sometimes maybe you're like, here's another game like this. I don't want to play that kind of game again.
Well, yeah, I think that's
give me a new title to play. Give me something interesting.
I think that's probably why for our generation there's less people playing video games, is because we have seen it all. We've seen we've seen PUBG come out, and then all the battle royales came out, and we've played all of the Call of Duty multiplayers, and it's like, how many different types of Call of Duty multiplayer can you really create? How many different 5v5 lane-based shooters can you play? It's like Overwatch was great, but like I don't want to do it anymore. Like, it's like I'm tired of that. It's the same thing. It's just different skins, That's like the new Marvel one that's coming out. I have no interest in playing it because it's like, great, it's just Overwatch with Marvel skins. Great. That's cool. I don't really want to play that.
Does that also reflect with you when it comes to remakes of older games? Because there are those people out there that would pay good money for their favorite older game remade with better graphics. I'm those people.
Well, I have an opinion about that, which I think, again, I've talked about on a previous podcast, but I like remakes. Remasters are fine, but a remake is good. Like, I like whenever they take, it's like, hey, it's a new game. Like Resident Evil,
Final Fantasy?
Like Final Fantasy. Yeah. Because honestly, I've tried to play Final Fantasy VII again, like many times, and I get to like a point where I'm just like, I don't really want to do it anymore. But with the remakes, I'm like, oh, everything's new and shiny. I like this. There's different gameplay mechanics. It's a whole new game. I like that more. With the Resident Evil remakes, I really liked those. The Last of Us Part 1 that they remade, I actually did like that a lot because it updated, like, because I'd played The Last of Us, and then whenever Last of Us Part 1 came out, it was like, oh, it's like made to be, everything's updated to be what the new stuff is, so it felt like a different experience. So
I'm curious if my kid would have the same reaction and interest in some of these older games like I did when I was his age. Like, would he enjoy Super Mario Brothers the way I did when I was his age? Or would he just be like, no, this is boring. It's not enough content, because he's playing like the Fortnites and the Roblox and the, or is that stuff like would it hold his attention long enough? Because the kids nowadays want quick and fast, and like Super Mario Brothers, you really have to invest the time in doing that one jump over and over and over.
I would argue the opposite. I think Super Mario Brothers is made to kind of be like, it's you don't have to spend a lot of time, because it is very simple in that you just run, you go from left to right, and you run and jump. I would argue that's simpler than a lot of other games that take a while to get into. But I would also think that kids would see a game like Super Mario Bros. And be like, these graphics suck. I don't want to play these.
Yeah, if they could get past the graphics, I think, I mean, those classic games are classic for a reason, because they're enjoyable and because they tug at your, having funness. But I also think that unlike our generation, where we could go back and play those games again and again and again and again, just cause, I think today's generation would enjoy the game, beat it, and then probably never play it again. I think, like you said, that's their kind of their mindset of, okay, I've completed this. Now I'm on to something else.
How do I min-max Mario?
Right, exactly.
I don't know, because my kid, like, he played Lego City Undercover over and over and over, and even after he finished it, he wanted to keep going in and playing it over and over and over again. So I don't know.
But that also interesting. I mean, but that also speaks to, like, the GTA 5s and like the GTA 5s and the Fortnites and the games where it is like an open world, where it's like you're just there and you're just existing and having a fun time, driving stuff around.
Yeah, true.
So it's more.
It is very much a GTA for kids.
Yes,
that one.
I thought GTA was GTA for kids. Wait, no, you're not supposed to play it. Remember ESRB ratings? Remember how those mean things? And like how there really shouldn't be any 12-year-olds playing Call of Duty, but they're out. They do. They do so much. Great. Well, I think we're approaching the end of our time talking about stuff here. So I do want to go back to our main question. So do you think that we are gaming more, or we are gaming less than we used to?
I don't think so.
Don't think so either. I think we are plateauing out, maybe. I think there was going to always be a decline after the pandemic, if that's when the data is being measured from. Because it's just natural for people to just get back out there in the world. And then if you're having to force people to go through commutes and all that stuff again, that's the last thing they want to do at the end of the day, is go jump on a computer again. So handheld gaming is going to be more for people. And if that data is not included, then,
Gray?
But
I
definitely
agree. I definitely agree that I think it's our desire in our gameplay might have changed exactly what we're playing, but I don't think it's decreased in any way after, our childhood, obviously, because we had just had so much free time as kids.
Mhm.
But once that came down, I think it's been pretty much consistent.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go out left field here and say, yeah, I think we are gaming less than we used to. But I would I think that's a good thing a little bit, is for those numbers to decrease, because, and I'll tell you why. Because I
You
think
tell
that
us why.
with the amount of time that we're in front of screens, I think is just a little crazy. Because we used to at least spend more time not in front of computers or on computers or tablets. Now it really seems like every job or everything you do is just screen, tablet, computer, screen, tablet, computer. Even the cars
And
have.
it's only going to get worse. It's
Yeah.
not going to get better.
Right. So I think I think those video gaming numbers, I think they might still be decreasing a little bit, because I see a generation of kids coming up who are a little resistant.
Screen fatigue.
Yeah, who like are a little bit resistant to do that, and are a little bit more apt to go out into the meat space and do things. And I think kids need that, especially post-pandemic kids, because boy, there's some
Definitely.
emotional development that we did not get for a lot of these kids. So they need to work.
I mean, mine
we
was
need
a
to work
pandemic
this.
kid. His
Tough.
toddler years were all pandemic.
Woof. I'm talking like transition from like middle school to high school, and like elementary school to middle school. All those kids during that time.
Graduating in the pandemic.
Ugh. They're all in there right now, and boy, it's rough. It's rough. All right. So are we gaming less than we used to? That's a solid maybe.
What do you guys think?
What do you think? Do you think you're gaming less? If you have thoughts on it, you should go to our Discord and you could tell us. You could tell us all your
I'm
thoughts.
actually really curious to hear what you guys think.
Yeah.
So please go. I really want to have a conversation about this, because
Yeah.
I think this topic is very interesting.
Yeah, it's very neat, especially to get everyone's different points of view. And we've gotten a few from the chat, so thank you chat for participating in this here. But if you go to our Discord, bit.ly/discobrew, that's DISCOBREW, you can join our Discord, and you can chat with us about the episodes, about the things we talk about. You can share pictures and videos of cool gaming achievements you have.
Tell us what you're playing.
Tell us what you're playing. Tell us just goofing around. Send us some fun stuff. If you break your foot, post it in there and let me know. That way you can be one of my boot bros. Boot bros for life.
It's a pretty fun space,
well,
guys.
I mean, boot bros for 4 more weeks. Hopefully.
So break those feet fast.
Yeah, but do it quickly. Otherwise we won't be boot bros.
No, do not break your feet, people. That's bad advice. What is wrong with you?
I have a broken foot. That's what's wrong with me. So you can join that Discord. Remember to listen to the podcast. You can listen to older episodes where we may have talked about, as you heard me say, we have many opinions. We have lots of episodes. We've been doing this podcast for 7 years, so there's lots and lots of stuff to listen to, and opinions to have your opinions about as well. And you could do that by looking for the Game Brew on all of the social medias, or the space Game Brew space podcast on all of your favorite podcatchers. That's it for us. Gray, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Not right now. Maybe in the future.
Ooh,
he did.
I like
it's
this.
an audio medium. It's an audio medium. He did like a little.
Right, of course.
He did little glasses down, and he like looked over them. The thing that librarians do whenever you're making a lot of noise.
Right.
But he didn't follow it with a shush.
Quite lovely. You should come watch it on the videos, the VOD on Twitch, and you can see Gray do that.
You can, and twist his mustache.
Twist his mustache.
His glorious mustache. I will never have a mustache like that.
I'm gonna make a mosaic of his mustache, and I'm not even kidding. Gray, I have a picture of you on my desktop because I'm gonna make a mosaic of your mustache. Yes.
Don't just take.
I'm not even kidding.
Just take pictures of people without permission.
Stop.
Oh no! Wait, I guess you can. Maybe you can. Oh no! Never mind. Never mind. Kari, do you have anything that you would like to plug?
So, I really want to start streaming again, but I will have to keep you guys posted on that. It's just been like everybody keeps getting sick, and we're going to the hospitals, and yada yada. Life that takes you away from gaming, that keeps happening. So,
yeah.
Soon. I keep saying soon, but
soon.
What about you, Dan? What are you plugging?
What am I plugging?
Careful.
Drains. What am I plugging?
They call it nowadays.
Outlets. With like phone chargers and stuff.
Right, of course.
No, I do play Call of Duty with my brothers on Thursdays. You can go to my Twitch if you want to. It's twitch.tv/tubecrazed, but you don't have to. It's fine. Ragnar's always there. What's up,
Do
Ragnar?
it.
It's fun.
Go razz him.
But it's but it's you could ask Ragnar. Ragnar might tell you if it's Ragnar's probably like, it's fine. But we win sometimes, and that's kind of pretty fun. But in general, we're just kind of like perpetually in second or third place. It's great. But there is a new Call of Duty coming out soon, so that'll probably be a little different. Yeah. So
that's a new
me.
season or a new game?
New game, Black Ops 6, and then.
I thought that was already out.
No, there was like a beta. There was the beta that came out.
So
people were playing that. That's what you saw. But then the actual game comes out in like, I think it's like 15 days or something like that. I can't remember. Yeah, but that's about it. So, all right. Well, with that, I think it's time for us to end the podcast. So we're going to end the podcast portion by saying what we always say whenever we end the podcast, which is good night.
Good night,
everybody. Wait, hold on. I think we have to. Did you say goodbye, everybody, or did you say good night, everybody? Greg?
You said goodbye.
I did say
Gray.
goodbye.
Oh my God, it's good night. How many times, Gray? Slap.
I'm sorry.
Slap.
I'm just so upset whenever you guys leave that I just blank it out.
I just have to do it. I was like, all right,
I wait for Dan to say it. I say it slowly. And
I really.
Bye.